Hi, so I received a number of questions from students interested in why the Supreme Court rejected the Texas v. Pennsylvania lawsuit for lack of standing. And this does give us an opportunity to discuss some constitutional issues, and I've created this short video to respond to these questions. So one thing to keep in mind is that there were a number of prior lawsuits, and these lawsuits were brought by individuals and other entities who were upset about the outcome of a number of different elections in a number of different states, including Pennsylvania. And the gist of these lawsuits was that Pennsylvania and other states didn't conduct their elections properly. In particular, people were upset that voters were allowed to mail in their ballots. And in the case of Pennsylvania, the plaintiffs wanted close to 7 million votes to be discarded. And these lawsuits in Pennsylvania and other states were unsuccessful. The Texas v. Pennsylvania lawsuit, though, was different because this was actually a litigation brought by a state, Texas, against other states, complaining that Texas doesn't approve of how the other states conducted their elections. And in a really short decision on December 11th, the Supreme Court said Texas lacks standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. And this gives us a chance to look at Article 3 and to try to figure out what the Supreme Court was saying in this really short order. So here's portions of Article 3, Sections 1 and 2 of the United States Constitution. And Article 3, among other things, creates the Supreme Court of the United States, and it also sets out the boundaries of federal court's jurisdiction. That is, what types of cases can the Supreme Court hear? And if you look at Section 2, you can see that the Supreme Court can hear cases, it can hear controversies, and one type of case and controversy that the Supreme Court can hear involves lawsuits between two or more states. So on one level, the Texas v. Pennsylvania case looks like something that absolutely belongs in the Supreme Court because this was a lawsuit between two or more states. Texas was suing other states on grounds that those states did not conduct their presidential election the way that they should have. However, keep in mind that Article 3 limits federal courts to only hearing lawsuits that are actually a case or controversy. To show that there is a case or controversy, Texas would need to show that it suffered an injury because of what Pennsylvania did, and that the Supreme Court would be able to remedy the injury that Texas suffered as a result of what Pennsylvania and these other states allegedly did. But in its order, the Supreme Court said, well, Texas, you lack standing. Texas, you have not demonstrated a judicially cognizable interest in the manner in which another state conducts its elections. So the court doesn't exactly explain why it is that Texas lacks standing, but I think we can draw some reasonable conclusions. Probably the reason why Texas lacked standing was because Texas can't really claim an injury for purposes of Article 3, for purposes of creating a case or controversy. That is, Texas is complaining other states didn't hold the elections in a way that Texas would prefer. And of course, some members of the state government in Texas were saddened by the results of the election. But that's not a basis for one state to sue another state. That doesn't demonstrate that Texas has suffered an injury for purposes of creating a case or controversy between Texas and these other states. So it seems that because Texas can't show this injury, the Supreme Court said in its order, well, without an injury, you lack standing under Article 3 to bring this case. Now, it's worth noting that a few justices said, well, we think we ought to hear the case at least, and we can't simply reject it at this point because Texas lacks standing. Now, they didn't indicate whether the case had merit, and they might have just gone ahead and immediately then dismissed the case for lack of standing, but most of the justices said that the Supreme Court can reject the case even before it commences because Texas lacked standing. So thanks very much for the questions, and feel free to get in touch again. Bye now.